Listening to 27 Degrees Sag, and we are broadcasting. All the information's coming through from the Galactic Center. I'm your host, Kimal Lowe. I'm an astrologer, psychic medium, a feng shui consultant, and I also do light healing work as well. And you can always reach me at my website, kimlalowe, Lowe.com. Tonight we are having this wonderful Capricorn moon, and I said, oh my gosh, the moon's going to be in Capricorn. What wonderful spiritual friend do I have that would love to come on the show? And there's Tracy Mahan. So I
Yay.
want to talk about Tracy Mahan. We have been on radio, we have been on each other's shows, we have been in cahoots in the spiritual world for a long time.
Right.
And it has been such a pleasure to watch her blossom and turn into this wonderful channeling that she's doing of this beautiful being called Daniel, who is an Arcturian, and he is going to be coming through during the show as well and giving us wonderful messages. So if you would like to go ahead and place your questions down in the chat room, be my guest. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Restream, we are on it all. And I can't wait to hear what questions you may have. I need to open up my chatting. There we go. So I want to say hello to everybody coming in, everybody that's listening afterwards on the archive. And we have this wonderful spiritual friend, like I said, and she has found a mutual great lady that we've both fell in love with, Dolores Cannon. And she went ahead and she joined up and took all of the classes and the courses and became an instrument in moving this forward into the mainstream. And it is so accessible now, it's accepted now. And no matter where you are, you can go on YouTube and you can listen to Dolores Cannon and all of her wonderful research that she has. I mean, it's just her books are amazing. I think she's written 15 books now, but I'm not.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of the number, but I'm sure I have them all in my bookcase at this time. But I found her work absolutely fascinating, and she's developed a hypnosis technique called the quantum healing hypnosis technique. And Tracy is one of her wonderful students that is on YouTube with now Dolores's daughter, and they have a YouTube show that they go and they explain this wonderful technique. I'm going to buzz out and I'm just going to let Tracy take the stand and tell you all about this fabulous journey into this wonderful technique of hypnosis.
Oh, I love that. I'm just going to buzz out. Right. Now, I have to say, Kimla, you were one of the very first people that brought me on radio. And if you would have done that to me the first time we met, I would have been like, but I just want to thank you for having me. I definitely, like you said, there's just been so much growth with both of us since we first met. And gosh, it's been years now that we've known each
Years.
other,
Yeah.
years, and such an extraordinary time from when we first met. But in that time, yeah, I started channeling this Daniel fella here that you see in the picture. Um, and all of that came from my journey with QHHT, Dolores Cannon, just getting in deeper into my spirituality through it. And QHHT changes lives. It's a deeper hypnosis that'll take you into the subconscious mind. You can ask your questions to the higher self and bring in a lot of information through those sessions. Um, you know, if you signed up for a QHHT session with someone, you would want to plan your day with them because it's going to probably take 4 or 5 hours to go through the interview and do the hypnosis session, get into the deeper things that, in our day-to-day hustle and bustle, we're kind of not really paying attention to everything that's going on in our lives, and how our bodies will talk to us, and how those aches and pains actually mean something. And those ailments that we have are messages from our body. And that's what Julia Cannon goes into with her Soul Speak book. And then Dolores with the hypnosis, the two pair together really well. Because, you get a client that'll come in and sit down, and you just talk with them for a time and get to know them really well, understand where their aches and pains are coming from, where their ailments are coming from, where they're feeling blocked, all the different things. What are their questions? A lot of people want to know, where did I come from? What's my origin? And we get to find those answers. We get to go on those journeys. We go into past life. We go into the higher self. We get those kind of answers for people. And it's been an extraordinary journey to take. I'd had previous hypnosis course before I took Dolores Cannon's course. And of course, now the only one I do is the QHHT. And it's because it's the thing that'll do it all, right? And so it's been an extraordinary journey to get to follow these beautiful tools that she's left for us, and keep growing it and expanding it and bringing in her method to help other people. And so I love the work. If you have questions about it, maybe that would be easier. If there's something more direct that you would like to ask that I could answer for people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be great. Everybody's just kind of seeing the posts and coming into the chat room, so I'm sure they'll be asking more questions. But what's wonderful about your journey, Tracy, I want to get, I want them to really get to know you, is that you are an incredible, I want to say, driving force. You're a force of nature. But being a single mom and, making adjustments and being there and taking care of everything that you take care of, and also going and expanding this spiritual journey that you've been chosen as your mission. It's quite obvious that it's one of those things that I just want everybody out there to know, that sometimes if you're struggling with your spiritual journey at this particular time, it's quite common.
It's very common.
Quite common. And if you don't know which way to go, or you're trapped in an employment situation that doesn't resemble spirituality at all, and you feel as though you're changing and no one else around you is, it's kind of one of those things. So I really want to say that sometimes it's a struggle. And if you need any kind of consultation, or if you're feeling blocked, this is why we're here. And this is why we want you to know that our journey was not tiptoeing through the daisies or the tulips.
No.
At any point as we were starting out, it was like when I see those little fawns, that were just born, a newborn baby deer, and trying to get the footing and trying to stand up. I mean, no one wanted to talk about any kind of spirituality when we were kind of tuning into ourselves and just starting the road that we're on. And it's so nice to know that Dolores Cannon and her technique has brought out a higher purpose within you, because I feel that that's exactly what happened with myself when I was studying with the Chinese masters. I studied with Grandmaster Lin Young and Lillian Tu, and just very recently Joey Yap. But when I started studying feng shui and just the art of placement and just energy in itself, this whole meditation field of energy came in, where boom, remote viewing was amazing. The channeling, the psychic mediumship went through the roof, and I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Oh man, I all the things, right? All the clairs, all the gifts, all the abilities. It's been such a journey, such a and not always a nice smooth ride. Like you said, sometimes it's an uphill climb both ways. And you
Yeah.
know, we've been through it all, and that's how we went through our awakening. And here's what I find very exciting about people that are going through awakening now. They get the fast track, right? All the information's out there. There's videos, there's
Oh, right.
books, there's audios, there's so much information out there. And you know, I was told a long time ago, because I started doing this when I was about 19, and I'm 51 now. And so that's been 32 years of the trenches, right? We're in our chest high waders going through the muck, trying to figure this all out,
Yeah.
clearing our stuff, you know, and bravo to the ones that went before us that gave us something to grab onto. But what a journey it's been. And I was told, you know, while you're going through this and it feels like it's taking forever and you're going through dark nights of the soul and you're doing these journeys, but there's going to come a day where people will hear about spirituality and evolution and ascension and all the goodies, and they're going to fast track it. And over the last 2.5, 3 years now, I have seen so many people that are like, I call it the COVID awakening, because they come into the office and it's like, well, when did you start finding this information? What brought you to me? You know, and it's usually a QHHT session. What brought you here? And they, oh, about 2 months ago, and the first lockdown, it was about 2 months after the first lockdown where we're all restricted. And they said, about 2 months ago, I stumbled across Dolores Cannon's information, and boom, they're already sitting in a chair having a QHHT session, or having the ascension sessions where I channel in Daniel. They find me on YouTube and they're like, yeah, I've been going down these rabbit holes like crazy. And
Right.
it's so exciting to me to finally get to see the rapid awakening happening.
Yeah.
And people are just like, they'll hear about it, and within a few months, they're like caught up, you know, and they're telling me stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've never heard that before, but that makes so much sense. And I'm like, man, not only are you caught up, but you're like telling me things I didn't know. This is really cool.
Exactly.
Because when I started channeling Daniel, and that happened at my level 2 training for QHHT, a whole bunch of stuff opened up, and that's when I started channeling Daniel. I was asked, please don't watch other videos, don't go down the rabbit holes. I had to put all my conspiracy stuff aside and to remain a clear channel. So when other people are talking to me about stuff that they're finding online, that's all stuff that I've put aside, because I want to be a clear channel for people and not influence that information. And so it is fun when somebody comes into my office and they're telling me something they found that I didn't even know about. I'm like, what? I've never heard that. That's so awesome, you know? And
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
just an extraordinary time that we're in.
I know. And you know, there is a bit of responsibility in that. And I think this is a great segue to talk about just the foundations that need to be put into place, and also some protective gear as well. You know, when people start, start really getting into a light meditation and things like that, and also practicing astrology or feng shui, or trying to hypnotize somebody that they think, oh, I can do this work.
Mm-hmm.
um, as a matter of fact, I'm doing an in-person astrology 101, and this is basically to really lay down the basics before you go out there and you look in the night, you get caught up in the constellations, and you're thinking, oh, I know all about the planets. But and there's a quite a number of different schools of astrology. This is going to be Western in the tropical. So if you would like to learn the planets, the signs, the houses, the placements, the cycles and aspects, and use your particular birth chart. The class is going on Sunday, June 26th from 2 to 4:30 at the Indigo Door. That's in Palm Coast, Florida. There will be an online Astrology 101. If you are interested, please get a hold of me, PM me, and let me know so I can put you on the list so that we can get you into the Zoom class for that one. Also, there's a Feng Shui Basic Bagua. There are two tools in Feng Shui. One is the compass, one is the Bagua. I'm going to be going over the Bagua because that's the one that everybody is drawn to first when they start doing Feng Shui or reading Feng Shui books or manuals out there. That's going to be Saturday, July 16th from 2 to 4:30. We're going to be using your floor plan in class. So I want you to call the Indigo Door in Palm Coast, Florida, and reserve your seat. That's also going to be online as well. So if you're interested in, learning Feng Shui, the basic Bagua, or learning the basics of Astrology 101, I think it's a good way to kind of, everybody needs a gateway. Some people it's Reiki or, something else. And you never know if you are wanting to always get those kinds of things under your belt. These are a good foundation for classes. And Tracy, I'm going to give you a segue as to a couple of workshops you've got going on too for everybody out there.
Yeah, so I do. I have three that I would like to announce. I have a sound healing and journey with Daniel that's going to be in Amboy, Washington. We only have room for 15. I think we're about halfway there right now because it is in person. It's hard to find the people that are actually in the area, but that's the state of Washington, Amboy, Washington. If you go to my website, there's links for that. Or if you go to my YouTube, there's links for it there as well. The next one would be the Channeling and Light Language Workshop, and that's going to be in Salem, Oregon. And that's going to be an in-person as well. So also on my website or my YouTube channels, it's in the description boxes. And the last one is a group event that I'm doing online with a wonderful group of ladies where there's 6 of us presenting. It's an all day, August 6th. It's a Saturday and it's all day long. And it's going to start at 10 a.m. Central and end at 8 p.m. We're going to have all 6 of us are doing a 1-hour presentation of some really cool stuff. And then at the end, we're going to do a question and answer panel all through online through Zoom. And so we're going to present for an hour, take a half-hour break, present half-hour break. So there's going to be a little breaks in there so that you can get up and do what you need to do, come back for the next one, stretch, whatever. There's going to be past life journeys, channels with Daniel, learning how to channel with Suzanne Spooner. Julia Cannon's going to be on that one talking about light casting. And Sarah Bressman Cosme just wrote the Hypnotist Guide to Atlantis and the Sphinx and different things that she's going to talk about. I believe she's talking about finding a new history through hypnosis type of a thing. So really interesting topics, and that's going to be August 6th. Also, you can find all of that on my website, traciemahan.com, or go to my YouTube, same name, Tracie Mahan. So those are my announcements. Those are the fun things coming up. I'm so excited for each of them. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride. You get to go do one thrilling ride and then it goes up the hill and you get to do the next one. So I got 3 fun things coming up and I couldn't be more excited about them. So thank you for letting me share them as well.
Absolutely. I want to welcome to the chat room Bill and Vanda and Terrace and Dr. Marnie Hill, and wanted to say hello to everybody. And I have a couple of questions. When we talk about communications with galactic beings, some people, think, well, how do we know, exactly where they're coming from, or are these particular galactics, because they come from so far away? Let's just take Daniel. He's an Arcturian from, where's he from? From
He's from Arcturus.
Arcturus, right? So that's like 35 million star light years away.
So far away.
Yeah, and you can see it. You can actually see Arcturus. It's kind of an orange star by the Big Dipper, right? And it's about 25 times bigger than Earth. So when you think about all of these other galaxies and stars and planets and things that are really out there, out of our solar system, and you're thinking to yourself, it takes so long. I mean, and boom, they're here like Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
Are they coming from our future?
Some
Are
of them
they
are.
a part of us? Are we a part of them? Um, this is going to be bringing up a great topic for tonight. We're going to be talking about star seeds. What is a star seed, and how does it come to play on planet Earth?
And how long is the show?
I know, right?
The short condensed version of that. I did want to share something because they're like Buzz Lightyear, boom, they're right here. I watched this be proven scientifically through one of the videos I found to watch, where the speed of thought is instant. We got the speed of light, we got the speed of sound, and the speed of thought is instant. So telepathy is instant. And it made so much sense to me because it is. It's like, how did they do that if they're light years away or whatever that is? How are we communicating with them instantly like that? And so there was an experiment that was done with, I think it was probably NASA, and they had a guy that could do telepathy, and they sent one of the guys up on and to the moon or out into space, and then he was supposed to communicate back, and the guy that was telepathic was going to tell him when he received that communication. And it took 3 minutes to go one way and 3 minutes to come back. So the one that was sending the telepathic message had sent the message, he wrote it down, and 3 minutes later the message came through, and it was the same message that this guy had written down. So he got it instantly, where it took 3 minutes for it to actually get to the station. So I just love that because it helped me understand a lot with how this communication happens telepathically with these beautiful beings. How do you know they're beautiful beings? I have a golden rule. If they're not high vibration, yeah, I mean, we are energetic beings. Everything is energy. And so you can feel the energy as it's coming in. Does that feel like a lighter energy, or is it a denser energy? I also, I was told years ago by a very beautiful mentor of mine that if any information comes in that brings fear, then you are not getting a benevolent energy. You're not getting an angel. You're not getting these higher vibrational beings if they're bringing in fear. And so that's a rule of mine too. If there's any fear-based energy coming through or messages coming through, then I'm cutting that off because that's not going to be a benevolent message. And so that's also one of the things that I look for is, what is the message that's coming through? Is it going to be like, for instance, I had a gal years ago, she sent me a message. She goes, I was tuning into you. One, she didn't have permission to tune into me. So that's another thing. I like to ask for permission. And she's just decided she was just going to do this. She tunes into me and she says, yeah, I got this message that you need to be careful backing out of your driveway because you're going to hit somebody. Okay, that's a fear-based message in my book. So then it's in my head that I'm going to hit somebody. And I was like, man, and it made me feel bad. It made me feel icky. I didn't like that message. And I thought, you know what? So many things were violating of that message that, I wrote her back as nice as I could and said, listen, first, please ask permission to tune into me. Second, that message is fear-based. And so I'd like to know who's your source. And she couldn't answer those questions for me. So for me, I set a gatekeeper, and Daniel, this little guy here, is my gatekeeper. And only high vibrational energies can bring me the messages. And if for any reason there is a message, and I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had one come through that's been fear-based message that I'm aware of. But the energy has to be of a high vibration to come through for me to acknowledge the message and to take heart. But here's one of the things I tell my audience every single time: I hope you get the message. Use your discernment. We are only human, and we are using our interpretation of the message that's coming through. So I always encourage people, use your discernment. If it doesn't feel good to you, don't take it. If it doesn't feel right, walk away from it. Take the parts that feel good, take the parts that are for you, especially when they're general messages. There's a lot of that going on in all the social media. There's a lot of general messages. So keeping in mind that, if it may not fit for you. We have so many different collectives and stars, as you were saying, star seeds and star beings that we're communicating with. We are from different collectives. We are connected to a lot of different collectives. And one that's communicating may not resonate with you if you are connected to a different, if you're Syrian councils and, doing something with Syrians, and you're getting mantis beings coming through, that might not resonate for you. It might not be the right vibration for you. So keeping all of that in mind when we got these star seeds. I know you had a question about this.
I did, because I'd like to educate the listeners out there. What is a star seed? How did it, how did it get on planet Earth? And how do we know if we're a star seed? Have you ever questioned if perhaps you were a star seed from Arcturus?
Yes. That's a good question. Again, how much time do we have now? So I kind of go off of Dolores Cannon's information around that the world was kind of heading in a direction of, we got the atomic bomb, we were doing things that were detrimental to the earth, we were heading towards destruction, and so they put out a call for help, and the star seeds answered, or she called them the volunteers. The volunteers answered, and I'm hearing there's many different ways that call could be answered. Some were not in body and they chose to come into a body. Some were in bodies, and I love the movie Avatar because they show how you can transfer the consciousness from that human body over to the avatar body, right? And so in that conscious transference, you can take your consciousness and move it into another avatar or a physical being. And so that kind of cleared some things up for me, because I was always like, how do you become a volunteer? How did you answer the call if you were an Arcturian or a Syrian or a Dromedan or a Palladian, or, and I'm like, how did that happen if you were already in a body? And so that movie kind of cleared that up for me, is that there is a way to transfer the consciousness. And so there is still another body. And then I had a session with a gal that had that exact thing happen. I was taking her through a lifetime where she was, it was kind of more like the, what do I want to say? The 17th century kind of a lifetime. And at the end of that, she left the body and she went back onto a ship. And I was like, oh, okay, she's on, that's weird. And so she was talking about how she went back to her body that was on a ship, and she was walking through the hallways, and even though she had just spent 80 years in this lifetime on the ship, it was only like maybe a workday had passed by. So time was different there. And she says, it's not like people are looking at me like they haven't seen me for a long time. I feel like I just got done after a workday. And so that was interesting. And then she went into a room and she relaxed for a little bit and decompressed and just kind of, ate a little bit, whatever. She had a little time out. And then I said, well, what do you do next? And she goes, well, then I'm going to go into the review room, and we're going to look at the life I just did. And we're going to review that and see if there was anything I could have done different or blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to go back and do it again. And I found that really interesting because it sounds a lot like, the life review, the near-death experiences but only instead of going into the light, which most people will do that, she went onto a ship. And so it's like, well, that's interesting. So it kind of expanded my mind in the way that I was thinking about what are the possibilities of how we get here on this planet. And if we are a volunteer or we identify with that, we feel this need to be of service and to help the planet and to raise the vibration and to move into this new earth and the idea of this new earth. How do we do that when we're already in embodiments? And that made so much sense to me, that we experience time different in these other realities, these other places, and that gives us the allowance to come in and experience an entire lifetime in what might seem like an afternoon in the other reality. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's mind blowing, and yet at the same time, it's quite exciting. It's like,
Right. And just the concept, just the concept that there is an option, when we think here on Earth, that your loved one is resting in peace, on a cloud somewhere, surrounded by,
right,
wonderful cherubs, with the harps, that there actually could be on a mothership, uh, reviewing things and being, let's just say, restored.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, and also, I have heard that all of the experience from that lifetime is actually conveyed to the mothership, and it's they
yeah,
really collect all of those experiences that you have, and all of your emotions, and all of the other people that you've done, your lifetime with, and all of the different places that you've gone, and the things that you've seen, and that it actually is put into the Akashic records, and that you can go back and you can see it whenever you would like to. Now, when I ask about star seeds, they to my understanding is that yes, they can come from any planet, or they can come from any constellation, as far as the Syrians or the Palladians, or Arcturus, and all of these particular galactic beings did come and did plant seeds that were helpful to scatter and to regrow the earth after we had some major um, chaotic blowouts. I mean, I don't know how else to put it,
yeah.
but these atomic startovers. So when I kind of take a look at that, and I think, wow, all of these seedlings can come in from wherever, at different evolutionary experiences for planet Earth. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how does Daniel feel about that? Did he take place, or did he take part in reseeding Earth?
Um, that's a good question. Do we want to get him to answer that?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, I could try and grab that information, but if we're going to bring him in, let's bring him in. You can ask him that question. I
Thank
think
you.
that would be fun because nobody's asked him that before, so that
Okay.
would be a good one. Okay, so um, I'm going to explain this process because I know there's people in the chat that I don't know, and so maybe this would be fun for you to hear. When I go into the channel, I feel like I move my energy over to the left, and then Daniel comes in through the right side, and I am a conscious channel. So my eyes will be closed, and I'm very focused on the energy of the question. I can channel with my eyes open. I choose not to because when I close my eyes, I can really get into the picture of what he's showing. It's an extraordinary experience to not be distracted by 3D world and be in this multidimensional world with him. So that's what you're going to watch me do. I'm going to bring him in. Daniel's a little bit more boisterous. He might joke around with you guys a little bit, but the Arcturians have a lot of humor, and so, but they can also be very heartfelt. So who knows what will come in? We'll go get him and find out. So We are very excited to be here. We've been anticipating this time with all of you and getting to experience this joyful interaction as we are experiencing. Before you even brought us in, we got to experience the energy of the audience. And we like to make the audience aware that we not only are feeling the energy of the audience that is here with us live in this moment, but also those who will be listening in the recording. So know that you are also part of this if you are listening to this at a different date, a different time than when we are live. And so you are part of this beautiful community. And there is such a large number of you that are coming here, gathering around and experiencing this energy with us. And we thank you for being a part of that. We thank you for bringing your best and highest self into this show today and letting us all experience that with you. And Kimla, thank you for letting us be here with you. As you know, or maybe you don't know, we have been friends for many years in this world, but also outside of this world as well. We are not strangers to you, and you are not strangers to us. So we thank you for letting us be here, and it is good to see you again.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome so much. We have questions for you, Daniel.
We have answers for you. We just hope you like them.
Daniel, since the topic tonight are star seeds, we're wondering if you took part in the seeding of planet Earth when it needed it from Arcturus. We're wondering if you took part in the seeding process.
We want to give you the most complex and yet simplest answer. The simple answer is yes. There are many of us, and most of the audience listening has been playing a great part in the ascension process of this planet, and it has been. We don't want to downsize the importance of life here on this planet, but like a science experiment, right? Everyone's creating and seeding and seeing how it evolves and grows, but there is bigger, beautiful expansion that comes from all this growth. So we don't want to downsize it by comparing it to a child science project, right? But it is something that we all come out and we get to be creators. We get to be part of the system of the growth of this planet, of this galaxy, of the multiverse, of the multiverses beyond the multiverse. And so if you can expand your mind into the biggest space that you could possibly ever imagine expanding your mind, following us into that multiverse, look at the universes upon universes that exist, and then know that there's even so much more than that out there, because your minds are meant to stay centered into this reality so that you can create in this reality. So we have all chosen, when we come into the human form, to simplify what we know, because otherwise it would get too complex and be a little bit difficult to be in such a simple place when we know of the powers of the multiverse and beyond. And so did we help create this? Of course we did, because what a magnificent, wonderful strategy this is to have an experience, to move into these emotions. And there are a lot of planetary systems that do not experience things the way that the planet Earth experiences it. Having all the species that you have here, having all of the beautiful arrangements of emotions that go on within you, and to be able to experience this grandeur of ups and downs and all the things that it takes to move through a lifetime, to move through the emotional strategies of the lifetime, to find yourself in the ranges. One of the things, we know we don't have much time. There's so many things that we would love to say to this audience. We want you to know that you are in a world of duality. So please let go of any judgments of that duality. Step into the shadow pieces of yourself. Look into the beautifulness of what it is like when you are hurt, and what it is like when you are in love, what it is like when you feel angry, what it is like when you like something so much it's just out of this world for you. You have this beautiful arrangement of feelings, and it's not to be judged. The harsher, more denser feelings, the ones that don't feel as good, don't judge those. If you get angry at somebody, it's not to be judged. It's not to be looked down upon. You are here to have the experiences. It is what you do with them that matters. And that is where you are evolving. That is where you are growing. So when you can say that really hurt my feelings, or I wish that would have gone differently, and you are so worried about what people are going to think about you, let it all go and just be truthful to yourself. Let that peace be yours and yours alone. Go inward with the feelings, look at them, and enjoy the fact that you can do that, that you are these extraordinary beings. And that is why we created this world. We're not the only creators. There are so many on the councils that have created the different planetary systems that we're going to evolve here. And we know that you have talked about the destruction and rebuild, and destruction and rebuild. That has happened a few times in this planet where things went a little bit wrong, didn't they? And so the destruction and the rebuild has happened. And many of you have been a part of that. Many of you have been a part of Atlantis, Lemuria, ancient civilizations that went beyond those time frames. You have been part of the time of Noah's Ark. You've been in the Egyptian lifetimes. You've been in these advanced lifetimes. You have been on this planet when those that you refer to as the gods were still coming in to help seed and plant and evolve the planet to the point where it could start to grow and evolve before they were removed and brought back into their planetary systems, into their ships, into their stations, where they became the observers and they could no longer be involved. And so you've all been a part of a history that has not even been revealed to you yet. And there's a knowingness within each person that there's something deeper, something bigger going on here. And that is where you get to remember, not awaken so much as remember. You're so much more. You're so much more expansive. You've had so many lifetimes. You've got to evolve so many different things. And you chose to not remember those so that you could individualize the experience you're in now. But now we're in an age of remembering. And there's a reason and a purpose for the remembering now as the awakening process happens, because it is time to take this planet and see what we can do with it from this place of the third dimension and the reality of humankind and free will and all of that it is, and to bring in this awakening and evolve this planet and move it into what you refer to as new earth or fifth dimensional frequencies, higher awarenesses, opening yourself up into these expansive places of remembering things that you could do from other planetary systems, healing and emotional balance, and finding your peace and finding joy in the moments, regardless of where they are, what's happening around you. There's so much, right?
Yes, there is so much. I love the fact that we wanted to take a couple of questions from the chat room if you have time, Daniel. And one is from Vandana, and she says, Daniel, I received a message. I am a Palladian. What is that, and is that true?
It is true. So much more than that, sweetie. So much more than that. You are also connected to a Lyrian council of light, that you come in and you bring in peace, you bring in love, you bring in expansion in the heart chakra to the not just the people around you, not just the people who hear you speak, but you bring in the beautiful energy of the heart frequency, and you put it into the collective. You put it into the grids, you put it into the earth. You are here not just for humankind, but you are here for such a bigger purpose. You are here for the enlightenment of, that's not the word we want. You are here to evolve and to bring in the expansion of all things on this earth. You have been the water, you have been the air, you have been the trees, you have been it all. You have experienced all of it so that you could come in and understand it, so that you knew how to evolve it, so you knew how to bring in the love frequency, because everything is frequency. And the one frequency on this planet that will bring in the most vibrant of everything, that brings out the best of everything, is that love frequency. And so you have come in to create that in such a beautiful way. And you are working with the Palladian Council. You are working with the Syrian Council, with the Lyrans. If you are not familiar with the Lyrans, they are the ones that have the feline energy, the feline faces. and they still have a humanoid form, but they come across in their image as the lions or lionesses, as these beautiful majestic beings, and their hearts are hearts of gold, and they bring in this feeling of unity, of family. There is no one above and no one below. It doesn't matter what position you hold, every position is just as important, right? And so what a powerful energy to be connecting to today. We thank you for being here and letting us speak with you and letting us share this time with you. And thank you for being here on the planet at this time to bring in this energy and this frequency to help with the enlightenment and with love throughout the planet.
How do we know, Daniel, what kind of a star seed we are, if we are one? And what's the difference between a star seed and a light worker?
Well, everyone is a star seed. Everyone has come from the stardust, right? It is the part of all creation. It is the material of all creation, the planet itself, the people that are on it, the energy. It is all created from stardust. Think about a little magician with his wand going, oh, I'm going to create, and he waves his wand and something magical appears. Go to, what is it, Cinderella, and they, oh, let's turn the pumpkin into a carriage and that kind of thing. So think of stardust like that. It's like the pixie fairies. It's like Peter Pan. And it's faith, trust, and fairy dust, right? And so it's all made from the dust. It's all created from the magic of the star seeds, as you say, the energy and the expansion of this magical space and this creation. It's all being created from this place. And we don't know, we don't have the words to use to enlighten you further on that, because we use Tracy's knowledge of these things. And so there, she says, daggone it if I'm not limiting this, because there's ways to explain it, but it would not be words in the human form that we could use to explain it. It is more of a knowingness. And so what we ask of each of you, you all have access to this knowingness. If this is a quandary that you would like to have answered, ask your counsels, ask your guides to help you understand it in the knowingness of the expansion of the stardust, to make creation out of this thing, and let it, this energy, this dust, this material fragmentation of all time and space that gets created into universes, into species, into life forms. It's such a beautiful thing. And when you take the time to just let that expand in your mind without limitations, then you're going to learn so much more by just being in the feeling of it and in the understanding, and allow that download to come in and remember who you are. So you are all star seeds. And if you are listening to this channel, you are most likely all volunteers that came in at this time to experience the ride of moving Earth into another dimension, into another reality.
Let me ask you another question, Daniel. Since we remember, and the veil is pretty thick for all of us, could you give us a clue as to how to handle the more light that is coming in for us? And what is something that we can also do to prepare for the openings of new knowledge that is coming down? Is there something that kind of some out of the advice column that you can give us?
We like that. The Dear Abby column of the Arcturians, right?
Column. There
Yes.
you go. Dear
The
Daniel.
Dear Daniel column, we'll call it that, and we'll play with you in this. Yes. So you are asking, we want you to ask that question again. We got all funny and about it, and then we lost the train of thought. So ask the question again, and we're going to just jump right in.
Do you have any advice into the photon belt and getting more light into our awakening and our energy fields and planet Earth? Do you have any advice as to how we can use that directed or prepare ourselves?
You have been being prepared for it. That is why those of you who are here as volunteers, you have been working directly with your councils, with your teams. You are every single one of you that feels and resonates with the idea of being a volunteer, you are on councils. You are on councils that are studying the human form, the DNA, and the structures and how they're reacting to the influxes of the energy. There is a field around this earth that is being created by the different collectives right now that is filtering the amount of energy that can come in, because it is coming in at such an intense rate. And so as they study the humankind, the reactions that humans are having, the DNA, and how to level that DNA up so that the bodies, the physical bodies, can move through this energy without all the difficulties. All of that is happening, and you are all taking part in that. You are all delivering information back to your councils, back to your starships, back to your people, and the other councils that you have agreed to work with. So some of you are working with multiple councils at the same time to deliver information and knowledge. And what happens is you are getting the solar flares, you are getting the Schumann resonance. These are the things that you are identifying with the flux and the energy of the planet. Some of the energy is coming from the inner core of the planet and it's coming out, and other energy is coming from the atmosphere coming in. And what it is doing, it is creating this flux, and you are feeling it because you get grumpy or you get sleepy or you get very excited. You have these energy. Tracy says it might make you feel a little bipolar, she says. So when you are experiencing these energies and these fluxes and this shift in things, and Kimla, as an astrologer, you know that these energies are coming in and they're creating sometimes havoc. You've got the lunar eclipses, the solar eclipses, the alignment of the moons and the stars and all the things that it brings in. You are one of those who chose to read the energy to help people prepare, to help them understand. You're going to go through this. You're going to feel this. It's going to pull at you emotionally. Right now, what's happening is like weeding the garden. You're going to go out there and you're going to find the weeds that are keeping you from growth, and you're going to pull those weeds. And that is what the energy is designed to do. It's designed to come in, and it's designed to bring up the things that have been buried the deepest within you. And maybe not even just yours, but those of the ancestors that you came in to help clear. You came into family units that needed you. You came into family units that needed help clearing the karmic trails so that they can also ascend into this new energy. And they were getting stuck in this loop, abuse, not feeling good enough, feeling depression and sadness and anger and hurt and pain over and over again. And so you came in to help evolve out of that. Evolve out of the neglect, evolve out of the abuse. And so all of you who have experienced those things in your lifetime, and you're here today because you overcame it, because you moved past it, because you were here, you left yourself breadcrumbs, you left yourself people in your path, you lined it up perfectly so that you could evolve, so that you could get the information, so that you could remember who you are, and you could clear this energy for your collective families and put that into the collective grid of human consciousness. And so what do they call that? The 100th monkey. Once it's in that collective consciousness, now everybody has the information. Everyone knows how to get past this. And you start to notice that things will get lighter and lighter energetically for you. The densities of the world and the things that are happening planetarily will start to feel lighter and lighter. And that is because you are putting those solutions as a collective. You are all working together. You're healing this earth through healing yourselves. When you heal yourselves, you heal the ancestors. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have another question. Talk about evolving, since our bodies are evolving, our consciousness, our DNA strands, and we are ascending through this light. Are our bodies ascending towards the structure that you are being seen in, as far as your body that you're using? Are we ascending into that particular architectural structure?
That is a very good question, Kimlan. We want to talk to you a little bit about that. Your bodies, as you know it right now, can continue to ascend in the form that they are in. You can continue to look like this form of humankind. Now, keep in mind that we have, what we haven't brought up yet is the hybrid children. The hybrids have been something that has been going on for many, many years, and they get seeded into the earth realm with the higher frequency energies to help acclimate people in the earth realm to these higher vibrations. Now, some of the hybrids know who they are, some of them do not know who they are, and that was for their own safety and for their own sanity in this reality. And as the hybrids come in, what has happened is they have DNA from the Syrians, the Arcturians, the mantis beings, the insectoid collectives, the avian collectives, all of these different species and varieties of beings that are out there. The hybrid system brings that DNA in with them. And so what we think you are referring to as future beings that show up and say we are from the future, they do not look like the humankind that you know in this form today, but they look more like the hybridization that has been happening and evolving throughout the years. So as the hybrid beings, as the hybrid humans start to interact with the third dimensional human species, it is going to evolve and move into a future that the form of the appearance will start to shift and change. However, F2 humans continue, as you might say, as the species in its pure form. If that were to also stay together and continue, then you're going to have humans that look like you do now, and you'll have the ones that evolved from the hybrid DNA. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. We are getting to the end of the program. Daniel, you are just a bag of information, and you continually just delight us with your visitation. So I want to thank you for using Tracy. You handpicked a good one. I definitely want to say that. And thank you so much for blessing us with your energy. Thank you so much for being on the show. And Tracy, can you come back to us now?
Yes. Daniel saying goodbye to everybody, and thank you for letting him come in and be a part of this collective. So appreciate that. Thank you for letting me do that. And you guys, that was a lot of fun to do that with you. So hopefully those messages make sense to everybody.
I think they do. And I think that it was very helpful to answer the question about the star seeds and about how, our evolution is on track. And hopefully we don't have to reseed the planet entirely again. That's
That's the big hope, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing that, as far as the thought process and as far as our consciousness, I would really like to put a call out there for anyone who is listening to learn to direct your thoughts and your consciousness as to where you would like the planet to go, and to surround it with protection, and also to support the ascension movement, and also to visualize or perhaps let the codes accept the codes that are coming in, so that we can bring about more peace, more harmony, more love, more light, and also more information. So, Tracy, I want to thank you so much for being along with us this evening.
Thank you
And
for having me again.
if
Yay.
you want to get a piece of Tracy, you go to her website and you sign up for all those wonderful workshops she has throughout the summer, and also to keep track of her wonderful communications with Daniel, which is on YouTube as well. Anything else you need to remind us of, Trace?
I do ascension sessions or an hour with Daniel. Also, those are sessions I offer on my website. So that might also be something of interest for people if they want to do that. And of course, the QHHT. And those are in person only. So if you want to come to Oregon and see me, QHHT is also a fascinating journey to take with people. So thank you.
And we want to schedule you maybe for, a time where you come down to Florida as well. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
okay. And we can do a little dual session going on. That'd be so cool.
That
I
would
really appreciate your friendship after all these years. Thank you so much for coming on my show and just being such a wonderful advocate for the galaxies out there and for new possibilities and new openings that are really becoming the norm now. So I do
so
appreciate
exciting.
it's so exciting. I appreciate your work. And I appreciate every one of you that came along with us for this wonderful show and that have supported my show. If you would just push that button to subscribe, like, and share, and we can open the collective consciousness and let more people in and
Yay.
support the movement. Well, thank you so much, and until next time, may the angels protect you and guide you. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kimla.
Bye bye.